guys. Welcome to this week's What Women Binge. We have a very special guest today, a guest in the studio.
Yay!
This is our friend Anna Redmon, everybody. Welcome her, yay! So Anna, we have a very special, well, there's a bunch of special things this week. I just want to mention it's Holy Week for those that celebrate. And we had Palm Sunday, and now there'll be Maundy Thursday and Good Friday, and of course Easter. And with that in mind, we wanted to talk about a movie that's out right now that our friend Anna worked on, which we're so proud of, which is Jesus Revolution. Yay. So that's what we really want to get to later on. But first we have to talk about like our friendship and all the projects that you've worked on.
Yeah.
So why don't you give everyone a little intro? Why don't you run through your resume for us, would you?
Oh, gosh. My whole resume?
Highlights. Top 10.
Well, I think most notable would be a lot of the faith-based movies that are the family movies, like I Can Only Imagine, War Room, American Underdog, and Jesus Revolution. Mm-hmm. And then we met because I worked on two of yours.
Yeah.
The first one was Christmas in Tune. You were a producer on that one.
Yes,
we
with
met
Reba.
on that one.
That's the one we did with Reba and our friend Candace King.
Yeah, and the reason I said yes to that one was because of our friend Patty.
Oh, yes.
Yes. She,
That's Patricia Heaton to everybody
Patricia
at home.
Yeah, I had done
heard the story of my friend Patty's coming to dinner.
Patty,
cool.
Yes. I met Patty on a movie called Mom's Night Out.
Yes.
Which would have been...
Wait, did you design that as well? Okay.
And to clarify, Anna is a costume designer.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. And so anyway, so your mom, I think... somebody reached out to me about Christmas in Tune.
Yeah.
And so I immediately called Patty and I was like, what do you think about Melissa?
And Patty and I had just become fast friends. Yeah. Like very fast.
Because you had just moved to Nashville.
Yeah. And she DM'd me and was like, hey, I'm moving to Nashville too. And so we were like, let's get together. And cut to us doing Pure Bar on Fridays. And
I love her. Yeah. So she was like, no, you absolutely must do it. So I said yes to Christmas in Tune. We met when you were a producer on that.
Yeah.
And then...
I asked you to come on board Santa Boot Camp.
I got bamboozled into Mistletoe in Montana.
Oh, that's right. We did Mistletoe. Oh my gosh, I totally even forgot about that one.
Bamboozled.
That's we had to go to Montana and shoot a movie. And that was not, we've talked about that before on here, but we can talk a little bit more about cowboy exploration in Montana that we, wintertime Montana, which we shot in this blazing hot summer. But all right, where should we start? Where should we jump in? What do you think, Amanda?
Well, I think we have to talk about Mistletoe in Montana because that's how I met Anna. Was fresh off of Mistletoe, and both
still
of you
twitching afterwards.
It was a bit traumatizing, and you invited Anna to coffee one morning.
Yeah,
and y'all both just spilled your guts, and it was a really fun time.
Very cathartic. Yeah.
Yes.
We I haven't really let people at home know exactly how difficult Mistletoe, Montana was. I have said that there were struggles, and I think I've talked about it a little bit, but not necessarily to the extent. But it's funny because you were living here in Nashville, and then I just moved to Nashville, made a few friends, and like connected everyone. And now we have our wellies. We call ourselves like this wellness group of ladies that get together every Wednesday. It's the Women's Wellness Wednesday, and so we have a group of like 6 of us. And now, we not only get together for coffee about 2 hours every Wednesday. We have traveled to New York City on a girl's birthday trip, and we've done so many fun, amazing things. And now it's like this tight-knit group of women, and our kids go to school together, and there's just this. And then also you and I with Patty have like this close friendship, and so it's. Just so people at home know like how close this friendship is. That there is a little like.
You're meeting a BFF here.
Connected.
This is another, like we've had Hillary on, we've had Brooke on, we've had Wendy on for when she did Harry Potter. We just haven't had Martha Ann on.
We need to get Martha Ann.
We got to get Martha Ann on, but that's our group.
And interesting about that is that even though I've done a lot of feature films, for the last over 15 years now, I've been working in feature films. I don't tend to really become friends with the actors. And I think I said this to you. It's not that I don't like them.
You just see them naked a lot. So it's a weird dynamic.
I see them
it's
naked a lot. It's very strange.
Also, you have to be the bad guy a lot.
Yeah. It's an interesting relationship, honestly. It's interesting. But I love my job. I think my job I really love what I do. I love the craft of what I do. So that's really what I get most out of the job. So the relationships are sort of the icing.
Secondary.
Yeah. And so, but I don't tend to have deep friendships with other actors, mainly because I think our lifestyles, we're always on the go and with different groups of people. But
it's a traveling circus.
It is.
I was
and we're a bunch of, Garnies, but Patty is one that has stuck.
Yeah.
You know, that friendship stuck, and it was real, and it was one of those moments on set where it was after, she had wrapped and I had wrapped, and we were just, sitting out talking and connected on a heart level. So that was one of the friendships that has lasted the longest. But then one of the things that I have told you before that was really special, because I didn't see this side of you on Christmas in Tune, but then on Mistletoe in Montana, the way things went, I had planned on bringing my whole family, but it didn't work out that way. And so what I did was I flew my oldest, Iraville, out to be with me. And I try to stay connected to my children as much as possible when we're away. But one of the things that struck me about you that just stuck with me was that every time you would wrap, a lot of times when you would wrap, I would still have work to be done, and Arabelle was with me. You would come to me and go, "Can I take her back to the hotel with me? Can I get her fed? Can I take her swimming?" And I was like,
she'd be swimming.
You want to
I'd
hang
be
out with
reading a
my
book.
kid?
She was so cute. She would ask me so many questions about. I was so impressed with her because she wanted to know all about my kids, and like not just like superficial stuff wasn't enough. No. She was like, "So now tell me about Brady," and that was the one that I was like, "Okay, well Brady." I find Brady easy to describe in a way because I'm like, oh, well, he likes the color purple and he loves hippos. She's like, but tell me about his personality. Like she wanted more. She's like, is he kind of shy? Is he? I'm like,
my child.
Well, he is. I hadn't thought of that. Like I had to dig through. Like it was a little bit like being in therapy and someone saying, no, tell me the real you. And I'm like,
she's definitely my kid.
That's totally your kid. Anna for 10 minutes.
I'm not a surface conversation kind of person. It's very difficult for me.
By the end of this episode, we're all going to be, and all of our listeners are going to be spiritually connected to Anna. You can't help it.
Yeah.
It's hard for me.
The first, we laugh because at any dinner, if you're sitting next to Anna, you're going to go deep. There will be tears. There will be great laughs. There will be laughing tears. And it is just, it's a wild ride.
It is. It is.
Wait, so let's talk about, okay, Mistletoe, Montana. We were in the middle of Montana shooting this movie on horseback, and you are so talk about your experience with horses.
Oh, yeah. So I grew up in a tiny town in Alabama.
Wow.
Tiny.
I'm very attracted to Alabama people. Apparently, my husband and these two.
You have a type.
You don't know that
You're also all 6 foot, so
we grow tall. But I grew up barrel racing horses in a tiny town in Alabama. So that was one of the things that your mom used to convince me to go to Montana was the horses. And I was like,
which was more of a pain in the ass that I loved it. I loved every minute though. I've told the audience before, I've never fallen in love so hard with a co-star as I did with my horse. I wanted to bring Maverick home. He was big and sweaty and grunts a lot. But
he was great though. I rode him a couple of times.
Such a good horse.
He was a good horse.
I don't know horses that well, but that was magical. It was like my unicorn. I swear, as a little girl, it's all I ever wanted, and I finally and I wanted to bring him home with me, but he got too expensive. They kept raising the price on him.
I love horses. We just bought a bunch of land so that we could have horses, because I think for me, it was probably the most formative experience for me as a woman, because I think it gave me a fearlessness on the inside that I don't know how I would have actually been able to get any other way. I think, without a doubt, I can conquer the world. I don't think there's anything I can't do. And I think it's because I just could ride a horse that could kill me, And it was there was something about that. I started riding when I was really young. So it was very.
So this is the second time you've said something that reminds me of myself, but in the complete opposite way. Because you just said that, and I was like, yeah, that's me in New York City, being raised in New York City and walking, taking the subway to school or walking the streets in the early morning or late at night, walking my dog around the block or something. I feel like I learned that fearlessness, but you also have said that you think you have a really amazing immune system because you walked around barefoot on a farm. And I said, well, I think mine's from holding subway poles.
licking
subway pole. Like, you hold a subway pole, then you go get your nuts on the street, the smoked nut, and you're like licking your fingers or eating a pretzel. And you're basically like, you touch that subway pole and you touch your food and like you're basically licking a subway pole. So I would say that's where my
armpits have been on that pole.
Oh. No, see, here's the good thing about being small. I can grab on down low. It's just like little sticky kids. It's not like gross adults.
I always joke that
or people's feet.
Ew. Who's putting their foot on a subway pole?
There's a lot of questionable people on subways.
It's true.
But they're not really contortionists.
Ew. Well, you don't know.
They could be.
They could be.
They could be.
Fun fact, Melissa had to call the brain and ask permission to take me on a subway.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Do you
when we
not
were in New
remember
York. When we were in New York.
I do remember this.
We were not allowed to take certain people on certain subways. And I was like, guys, we gotta go on the subway. So I called the brain and was like, hey, I swear I'll keep her safe. Can you?
It's like, it wasn't her I was necessarily worried about.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
There were a few others.
There were a few ladies that had never been to New York, and we were worried.
And we were like, it's going to be obvious they've never been on a subway
Some
before.
thick accents getting out there and
Some of us are more touchy-feely than others.
Hugging everybody and bless your heart. we were worried riding the subway. We draw a lot of attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Attraction. And
Somewhere
attention.
there's a video of you doing bar gymnastics. Like,
That's called foot tag. We talked about this with Emily, my sister, when she was on. Because
You're midair in the picture.
Yeah. Is there one? But back to Montana.
Yeah.
So we had like one trainer and 9 horses.
Yeah.
So you became a trainer. My son Tucker became a trainer. Everyone kind of became someone that had to handle a horse to try to help when they got a little wild and wanted to run after.
Well, and your co-star was really
Dwayne,
inexperienced.
who we love. He's such a love, but he was. And you know what? That's when I realized that horses really like.
They feel you.
Yeah, then I understood. All of a sudden, everyone talking about like equestrian therapy and all this stuff. I was like, I don't get that. But then after that experience I was able to remain calm, mainly because Maverick was such a good horse. And because Tucker, on his horse, he was riding this horse called Cherokee that was also Dwayne's horse. But Tucker could control Cherokee in a way that Dwayne couldn't. And I realized it's because his energy. Tucker's on his back, like trotting, laughing.
Yeah.
Dwayne's holding on tight with the reins totally crooked and like pulling on one side. And
Afraid.
Yeah. And the horse, and he was leaning way back and the horse felt every bit of that. Whereas Tucker was just Cherokee took care of Tucker, but Cherokee wanted Dwayne off his back.
Yeah.
Which was great for the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's exactly what he was supposed to be, a city slicker that couldn't stay on the horse. But
that was real.
It was real. It was real.
method.
And then let's talk about the sweat. So when you have to dress people like myself who want to wear Spanx, but also have to wear cowboy boots, chaps, I had hair pieces in, suede hats,
Christmas.
neckties, yes, suede coats, fringe.
And it is like 105 degrees.
It was about 105, right? There
it was
smoke.
like a heat wave.
It was the time, there was the most fires in the United States were in Montana at the time. We were surrounded by smoke. I mean, I was dripping sweat and all we had was one little tiny trailer for only 1 week out of the 3 where we got to go in. And Dwayne and I would kind of like undress and stand on separate sides and just like stand in the air conditioner and be like, oh my gosh, it's so hot. It's
And your
so
hair
hot.
was always down.
Yes, it was stuck to
Wearing
my
a
neck.
hat.
And there were flies everywhere. And there were flowers. We had to have the whole crew go pick flowers out of a field so it wouldn't look like spring.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not ideal for what you're, what we wanted that to be was Wyoming in January, covered in snow with sleighs and all that, and instead we're like in big flowering fields in flannels, just dripping sweat, trying, having to get patted down in between every take.
How do you handle that as a costume designer? Do you have to have like 4 of everything
Well,
so they don't
You
sweat
can't really
through
afford,
it?
the movie couldn't afford
yeah,
to. But.
that was the hard part. Is like it really you do try to have multiples, but if you can't afford it, then you just try to keep them. Yeah, and
we had
try to keep them as cool as possible.
What do we have? Like ice packs on our backs? Or
We had those
something?
little cooling handkerchiefs. That we had those.
They have like a little eucalyptus on them or something, so it keeps you cool. You put them on the back of your neck, or you can stick it down in the back of your pants, and it like cools you off a little bit.
I mean,
a little bit.
I tried to keep you less layered.
Yeah.
Than
We did cut some things out. I want to say like we cut a shirt sleeves up. We did something where it was like less layer. But it was hard too because like you're in cowboy boots, so you want to wear the proper socks so you don't get sores.
Yeah.
But that was the one thing. Like in between scenes, I couldn't rip off my jeans and belts and flannels and stuff, so I would rip my shoes off and just walk around barefoot a little bit just to try to get some air up some way in my outfit.
Yeah, it was hot.
It was rough, and we had other situations. We had to flee in the middle of the night. We had to flee from the ranch we were shooting on because we found out that the rancher was like a dangerous sort of gentleman who apparently used to run a girls' camp there, and that's why the camp was empty. And we could all go in there and we all lived on the camp and we were shooting on the camp. We were supposed to be there the whole 3 weeks. It was supposed to be magical, right? We're on this camp. We didn't have Wi-Fi. We had no cell phone service.
Oh my gosh.
And so we found out like we shot Monday through Saturday. Oh, first of all, our DP goes down with COVID the first day.
Oh my gosh.
Our DP went down with COVID before we started. So we
DP
had to fly.
means
Director of
photography,
photography, our
yeah.
cinematographer, the guy who basically operates the camera and designs the lighting. He went down 2 days before, so they would fly someone in we didn't know. My friend is directing it, Kelly Martin, who we have to have on here someday, but she hadn't really left lockdown with COVID and everything, and Montana was very loosey-goosey about it. California wasn't. So my California friends that came in, like my makeup artist and Kelly, were not used to being around people that weren't wanting to wear their masks. And so there was
It was
that
so hot,
There was
too.
that battle. Yeah, there was like the whole COVID thing going on and how the different levels of comfort. People came from Tennessee, Nevada, California, and Montana. And those were all very different in how comfortable they were with masks and protocol and all that at the time. And, we're in the middle of the mountains. We're on this ranch. We felt like we were in sort of a bubble, but then we had to leave that bubble because we found out that the rancher was dangerous to be around.
Like overnight.
Overnight, we were like, hey guys, it's 9 a.m. We need to have this literal like caravan on the road by 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So let's finish this day shooting. Meanwhile, get the rest of your crew to pack up your crap and like throw it in a van and let's head out of here. We didn't know where we were going. Yeah. This has never happened to me on a shoot before.
And we had about 15 to 16 racks of clothes.
In a schoolhouse
in a
nearby.
schoolhouse down the street.
Yeah,
we had to
wasn't
pack that up, and
I mean, we did not have enough
wild.
hands. All these movies are always very low budget. You can talk to that too, but we can talk about that with you want to talk about Santa Boot Camp?
Yeah.
So we did Santa Boot Camp. Well, we did Christmas in Tune, which was magnificent and amazing, and you worked with Reba and Candace and so many wonderful actors on that, and had a whole military side of the thing, right? But then when we did Santa Boot Camp, that was super special, and. We're submitting you for an Emmy for your work on Santa Boot Camp.
So deserved.
So excited. Hopefully you get the nomination and you get up there and I can be your date.
That would be great.
And me too.
Yeah, and Amanda too. We all have to go.
Because I want to wear a fancy dress.
All the wellies.
Yeah.
So then, so in Santa Boot Camp, which we filmed in, again, the dead of summer in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, I actually have never done Christmas movies until I met you. So
I bring that out in people.
Yeah, I know. I had never done them, and so it wasn't really like I did it. I did Christmas in Tune because of my relationship in the country world, because I've been a stylist in the music industry for about 25 years. So it was a very comfortable place because it was a music themed, country music themed. Christmas movie, so that felt comfortable. Then Mistletoe in Montana, the ranch side of things, that felt comfortable. Well, then when Santa Boot Camp comes around, you told me Rita Moreno was booked, and I went, yes, please. Yeah. And I could make her, Mrs. Claus, and that was like
the inspiration.
Honestly, that's all I needed.
The pictures you pulled out, the things you showed me and sent me.
I was so excited.
All that inspiration stuff was so fun. We sat and dug into it. You, me, the director of photography, and basically much of the same crew from Mistletoe, Montana, and Christmas in Tune. A lot of the same people coming around, just a new cast, and just, I mean, I just remember telling you or like saying, what do you think about blue? Like I want to do Christmas blues, but the network would never let us. Everything has to be red and green, red and green, red and green. I was like, we have to try to get some blue in here.
Well, and I think it helped that we did those amazing sketches, because one of the beautiful things is that I have worked really hard to build a really great, strong team in Nashville that are local to me in Nashville, so that when we do get to work in Nashville, they're all here at my disposal. And so Malia Honeycutt was my ACD on that one, and she's been my ACD for the last year or so, and she is phenomenal. She was actually with Calvin Klein in New York for years, and so well, you've seen her illustrations.
They're beautiful.
She's like, I'm an illustrator to the basic level, just to communicate what I need. But when she does an illustration, it's just gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
And so
she's stunning.
She did the illustrations for those. And I think that's what you submitted to the network. And so they were so beautiful.
I had to try to convince. I mean, it took some convincing. Luckily, the network was on board, but some of our other producers were like not so sure about it. It was weird because the network was kind of like, oh my gosh. But the other ones were like, I don't know. Can we see it in red?
Irene and
I was like, Gina, and we were just sort of like, I was like, I get that. It like you want it, and I kind of figured they would go that way. But after seeing it, you just fall in love with it. I mean, it was just
my biggest pushback was the fact that I knew that a traditional red and white Mr. and Mrs. Claus in that blue car was not going to work.
Yeah, we had this turquoise blue car that was
not
going to
work.
Beautiful. And the way we sold them too, I think, was that we were like, look, the lead girl, or Rita actually wore Belle, her name, the character name was, could wear red the whole movie until she's Mrs. Claus, and then she can be. Yeah. And you pointed out Pierre Noel. That was the whole inspiration was the Pierre Noel, right? Yeah. Santa with the big and all the animals and
the
in the
Nordic
woods.
Oh, so beautiful. Yeah,
that's what we wanted. That whole Nordic feel.
Yeah,
and like Frozen. I'm like, look, there's a movie that feels Christmassy in tone, right? Because it's got the snow and ice, and it's blue, and that's. I mean, we can make a blue Christmas. It's okay. Have a white Christmas. It's okay. Like,
I think honestly, I think I could be happy for the rest of my career and that be the only Mr. and Mrs. Claus that I ever do.
Yeah.
Because it was so special.
Where are those costumes? You have them?
Yeah.
Oh my
no,
gosh,
they're yours. I mean, they're
stunning.
yours. They're in
no,
a bag.
but I'm
they're
like, we didn't give them to the actors or anything, huh?
No.
They're so special.
No.
She's like, no.
Oh my gosh.
I'm shocked
someone else
Rita
needs to
didn't
wear
take some.
She did.
There are pieces.
Well, it's funny if you look her up, a couple of interviews of her, she's wearing the
wearing
boots.
them?
The boots.
Oh, the boots are fantastic. Lace up white boots.
Yeah.
I know we didn't really get, unfortunately, you guys, what happened with Santa Boot Camp, the only thing, and probably one of the most stressful days of my career was the last day of Santa Boot Camp shooting. We were supposed to shoot the entire outside, the whole end of the movie. They kiss, they make up, Santa and Mrs. Claus fly off. Like, we were the whole end of the movie, the big payoff, all of it with their gorgeous costumes. You had created elf costumes for the
all of the other cast had a very all unique builds,
really
for
cool
that.
unique builds with these fantastic different textured fabrics and
tying in the blues.
Oh my gosh, velvety, metallic, like just beautiful. And we didn't get to show a lot of it because we were under a thunderstorm watch for
the entire night.
Yeah, we get 12 hours to shoot, and 10 hours of that was under a thunderstorm watch. So we finally created a soundstage inside the hotel next to the location. We kind of cleared a ballroom, set up some stuff, and just started shooting some stuff. So we got some scenes done. And I mean, when I say we got it, I got exactly what I needed. I didn't get what I wanted. Right. So I didn't get a great reveal on her dress. We just didn't have time for it. So I don't think we saw much of the boot, unfortunately, the whole look. Yeah. There's a quick look when she spins around or something, and that's it. Yeah. And we never got to see the whole look again.
You know, I get used to it though. It's hard.
So heartbreaking.
It's hard. I mean, I've had movies in the past where, I did a movie years and years ago called Woodlawn. That was a football movie.
Oh, of course, with my friend Sean.
Yes, Sean Astin. And it was amazing. It was late 60s, early 70s, and I built an entire prom scene with 15 couples, all in early 70s prom attire, built a lot of it. They were matching tuxedos with the prom gown.
Goodness.
The entire scene got cut.
No.
The entire scene. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
well, and in Jesus Revolution, one of my favorite dresses got cut.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's get into Jesus Revolution. So it is Holy Week.
Yeah.
And I know you are just madly in love with your Lord and Savior.
I am.
And I love your heart. Your heart is the way you talk to people and the way you use the Lord's light in your own life to shine that on other people is absolutely beautiful. And I know that Jesus Revolution was really an important, you made a lot of big decisions going forward on that project. Yeah. And then with what you had to do, tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, I mean, we were talking about this a little earlier. Jesus Revolution was one of those projects that I had heard about several years ago. And what's interesting is that it was very much a part. I knew the story. I had known the story for a long time because it was a very strategic part of my life and my faith journey because my dad and my mom came to know the Lord as a as an effect from that whole movement led my dad into coming to Christ. And so it has
And you're a daddy's girl too, right?
Oh my
like
gosh,
you guys have, and so he's led a lot of that in
him
your
a
life.
lot. He's like my favorite. There's just not a lot of men like my dad. My husband, he's competed quite a bit for that place in my life.
I bet that's tough.
We've had our own journey. 22 years of marriage.
Different episode.
Yeah, different episode.
Yeah.
So because it was a personal story to me, I really wanted to do it. So when I found out that it was going to be made into a movie, I was like, please, please, please. And what's interesting is that the conversation started right before COVID. And then it kind of got put on pause. And then we started another movie called Unbreakable Boy that hasn't released yet. And then we went straight into American Underdog. Well, I was already on American Underdog, and they restarted a Jesus Revolution. And I couldn't do it. And so someone
side by side.
So it got handed off to another designer, and I was so bummed. But I had this moment, and I've always had this moment with the Lord with where I am, because backstory, I didn't sign up for this. This was not what I set out to do in my life.
You're going to be a barrel racer.
No. No. I have a music degree.
Which is funny because that's what your husband does.
It is. But I have always sort of remained in this posture of surrender of like, okay, God, you called me here, so I'm just going to open my hands, and if it's mine, it's mine. If it's not, it's not. But I really wanted to do Jesus Revolution because it was so personal. And I was like, it has to be mine, right? But when we were on American Underdog and it got restarted and given to someone else, I was so bummed. I was like, oh God, it's not going to be mine. And I'd lived with so much in my heart about what I would do if it were mine and all that. And I had to let it go. And then it got shut down. They had relaunched it, started prep, and it got shut down again.
Wow.
And so we were finishing up American Underdog. So then fast forward to that fall after we did American Underdog, and I get a phone call, and they're like, hey, we're starting Jesus Revolution again. Do you want to do it?
And it came back to you.
Yes. And I let it go, and it came back.
Nice.
And by that point, I was like, I am in full force. So even before I started ever getting paid to work on Jesus Revolution, I was already working on Jesus Revolution. So I had spent probably more time on the design of Jesus Revolution than I have in any production of my entire career, because it was so personal. Even to the point of my grandmother, my dad's mom, who was very, very influential in my life as a creative, she had built several suits for my dad. She was an incredible seamstress, was very much a part of teaching me how to sew. Yeah. And I have 2 pieces in the movie that she made. Yeah, there is.
How cool.
Yeah,
who did
so
it
my
fit?
dad. There was this. So my dad is 6'4", and like back then he was really scrawny. He's not anymore, but still very much a big man. But there was this guy that walked in the door one day, and I saw him. He was one of our background, and I saw him across the room, and I was like, he can fit in the suit. And so I called him over, and I wasn't really dressing any background because we had so many principal. And I was like, I need to put that suit on that guy. And it fit him perfectly.
Really?
So there is a scene in the movie where Charlene's character, Kimberly Paisley's character, comes out of the second bar. It's the build up to the tragedy that happens to her. Okay. She walks out of that bar and gets in her car and cranks it. And she's very sad. She's very tearful. On the wall behind her is that suit. Oh. And so my mom has seen it. My dad's seen it.
A man wearing the suit.
Yeah.
There's a person in it.
Let's call him the suit.
So it made it into the scene. But yeah, so there was a lot of heart from me that went in, not just because I love my job and the creative side of my job, but also just telling that story because it was so influential in my life and my faith.
So for the people that don't know the story yet, I mean, I highly recommend this movie. It is beautiful movie. We've talked about it on here a little bit because we had Bethany Joy Lenz was on and she wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
And she had this funny thing she said about she's allergic to Christian films in a lot of ways, but this one was because this is a beautiful,
too, and I make
wonderful,
'em.
wonderful movie. I know, but like they're just getting better and better because they're becoming.
We're trying.
You know, stories that are so based in truth and in and they're just beautiful and they're great. Like the thing about a movie, right, is it has to be great storytelling. So if you don't have really great storytelling and you don't have fantastic performances and wardrobe and production design, and that a lot of that comes with budget, you know. So we're starting to see that development more. That people are putting more money and more time and more effort, and these stories are becoming kind of more well-rounded. I think. Do you?
I think so.
What do you think about like you've kind of been in the progression of these movies?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're finally getting to a point where we are telling more developed stories that have more depth to them, that have more character development. Because I think that in the past it seems like we're just trying to get a message across instead of actually telling a real life story, which is part of the reason I really like telling true stories because. You can be a lot more
stranger
authentic.
than fiction in a way.
Yeah. I think there's more to draw from when it's a real story.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the things that I have always really been striving for is that one is, you know, when I knew that God was calling me into this, it was, I will bring excellence to what I do because I want it to be an act of worship to the Lord. So for me, this is what I'm laying down at God's feet. So I want to bring everything I've got. It is yes, to tell the story in a really good way. Yes, to honor the people who have hired me in that position. Yes, to honor their vision. But also, more than anything, it's like my act of worship is this, is to bring the best of what I've got to tell the story, no matter what the budget is. And that's the hard part. I think we've talked about this before, is you don't really have the luxury of sitting in a theater across the country and telling everybody, hey, but we only had this much money to make that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, they don't know how much it costs.
Well,
to
and
make
something
the
like
movie.
this, like tell us about like Jesus Revolution and the budgetary limits. I mean, even if you have a decent budget, you're talking about trying to source
period
clothing and you want it to be authentic.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want to double anything for a stunt double
Yeah.
or for a rain scene or anything like that, I mean, you're dunking people in the ocean, baptizing them. Like, where did you shoot those, by the way? You shot it
those were in Southern California in
so you did
in
a
Pirates
section
Cove.
of it. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we were in Orange County for like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Okay, and then you shot the rest in Mobile, Alabama? Okay.
Yeah, Mobile, Alabama.
I forget with all the places you've been in the last few years. I forget where you were when you shot which one.
You too. I'm all over the place. Yeah, honestly, sourcing is probably my favorite part because I blame my mom. She loved antiquing when I was growing up. And so I have spent a lot of time in antique stores and vintage stores, and I love digging.
This is something you do, right, Amanda? Is it? What did you tell? What do you call it?
Alabama
Bargain
girl.
hunting. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
It's fun.
Yeah.
She said I couldn't. She's like, you wouldn't know how to do it.
It's so good.
And gas lamp too.
Can I go?
Yeah. Yes, let's go.
I don't know if you can handle the dig.
You always say that. I don't understand why I can't handle
take
the
you, it's fine.
dig.
Yeah.
I can handle the New York City subway, but I can't handle the dig of a bargain hunt, Amanda.
I will take
Try
you,
me.
but I'm not sure. I don't know
see,
how
you
you're
do
gonna like
a different.
it.
You do a different kind of dig than I do because you do like that bargain hunt place, and
I do, but I like antiquing too. I love treasure hunting in general.
Oh, see,
I wanna
at an
find a
antique store, I
real
would be
vintage
dangerous.
piece. Yeah.
with
But
just
see-
with tchotchkes for my bookshelf. Not,
What motivates me is
not clothing, really.
hoarder kind of
I'm not good. Yeah, I'm very hoarder. You know that.
what motivates me is I have champagne taste, but I don't want to pay champagne prices. And so I love going and finding the golden
Prosecco.
nugget in the recycling bin.
Yeah.
You know, that's
The
what I love.
brute of the
Yes.
champagne.
And whereas I would get really frustrated in a position like what Anna does because she's constrained to this budget. It's not like, I found this amazing piece and it's a huge bargain and I did so good. Well, it's even if that's a huge bargain, I still can't get that one because I've got to get all these other ones.
Well, so Amanda, you know when you're sick and you're like trying to find what these symptoms mean and you stumble down a big old TikTok rabbit hole full of questionable advice from so-called experts?
Yeah. Let me just tell you, having just had the flu, there were many, many suggested remedies on the old TikToks.
Or like your group chat or whatever, right? Everybody like tries to tell you what you got, what's going wrong, what you should do. But you need to hear it from trusted professionals, not just random people on the internet.
Yeah, that's why I'm very grateful for ZocDoc. They help you find expert doctors and medical professionals that specialize in the care that you need and deliver the type of experience that you want.
ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient reviewed. They take your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun.
Millions of people use ZocDoc's free app to find and book a doctor in their neighborhood who's patient reviewed and fits their needs and schedule just right.
Go to ZocDoc.com/WWB and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours.
That's ZocDoc.com/WWB. ZocDoc.com/WWB.
Thanks, ZocDoc, for sponsoring What Women Binge. So you know my sister-in-law, Sally, very well. So Sally loves to shop. Yeah. And when we were both a lot younger, we were like exactly the same age. And when we were both a lot younger, I was like, you know what you should do? You should be in wardrobe because you like to shop, but you can't always afford the stuff that you want. But if you use someone else's money to shop for someone else, you know, then you kind of get that
the thrill,
like, the thrill of like
you
shopping.
Do.
And like, I know that. So here's the funny thing. You said you never are friends with actors. Do you know that the two first moms of my two first baby, the two godmoms of my two babies, Mason and Brady, are my first two costume designers from Clarissa and Sabrina. So whenever I meet a costume designer, I'm like, you're going to be the godmother of my next child. Like it just seems to happen that way. But so that's funny. So I'm actually the opposite. I like really connect with the costume and makeup and hair departments.
I can see that. Well, it's funny because I think when you know that an actor appreciates what you do, you feel it.
Yeah,
it's an interesting thing.
Well, and as an actor, that's who you're around a lot, and especially like in sitcom, you're around those people for years.
Yeah,
it is your high
family.
School, and your makeup and hair and wardrobe. You are with them for hours and hours every day and every week. And so that's who you kind of cling to. And it's funny because when I direct, I don't even know who makeup and hair and wardrobe. I mean, I know wardrobe usually, and the department has just from like just going through the stuff. But I don't really have that with this one. With Santa Boot Camp, it was like a nice, like I think because of our friendship too, we were able to really work together on that. Yeah. But normally I'm like, yeah, that's great. And like that's the relationship of like, no, can we? Okay, I'd like to do this, or can we? You know, but like that's it. Like maybe a color palette or something. But I don't really spend a lot of time. So it's so weird when I direct. I'm like, I don't really know makeup and hair on this one. Like, who do I ask for that she's got an eyelash on her cheek? Like, how do we? Who's makeup again? You know. But when I'm on my movie, like if I'm working, that's all I know is makeup and hair and wardrobe.
Yeah, because it's how you're going to look on camera.
Well, and it's who I'm with. It's like face to face. I mean, those people are like touching my eyeballs or, you know, seeing me naked, putting my bra on.
There's a lot of trust involved in that on both sides.
Yeah, I've had more Spanx yanked up my crack from wardrobe designers.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. You're welcome. I think I've been knocked over before. I think someone tried to pull my skirt down once.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I
have reached up so many skirts.
Yeah, and tried to pull down like the underlayer of my Spanx or something, and I went flying backwards.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, the thing is, there's nothing glamorous about it, really.
Oh gosh, no. It's not sexy at all.
No.
It's so funny.
No.
It's kind of like kissing your co-star. It's like, do I have to? All right.
What did you have for lunch?
Yeah. Did you eat the tuna?
How much coffee have you had today?
Yeah. Do you smoke? All right. Here's a piece of gum. Blech, blech.
Yeah.
But wait, we have to ask you some questions that we ask all our guests. I sent them to you ahead of time because people seem to be stumped. So I hope you're ready. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
no pressure.
I think I am.
No pressure.
Some of them I got stumped on. Just
well, they're tricky this time around. So this is we're actually in season 6 now.
Phone actually,
but we're in season 6, but we are still using our season 5 questions because we didn't have very many guests. We're kind of like keeping the guests down. Oh yeah, they're in my phone. I'm like, they're not even in my book this time.
I know. I pulled out my notebook and I was like, wait, they're not in there.
Pull those up.
So with Easter coming up this weekend, do y'all have any fun family Easter traditions?
Oh gosh. Our life is so crazy. We have a hard time with traditions. I will say we don't for Easter. We really only have
egg hunting.
And you guys have a unique family situation that both of you as parents are traveling a lot. Yes. If you don't know Anna, you definitely know her husband.
Oh yeah. Talk about Jeremy.
He is in a Christian band called Big Daddy Weave, and we have been married for almost 22 years. We met in music school. Yeah.
You guys are all like, my friends here, there's so many that are like high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
Hooked up for life.
It's an Alabama thing too. I think in some ways I felt the pressure from that. that I mean, because I had just turned 23 when we got married. We met in college, but and I used to think back then, gosh, that was so young, But now I'm so grateful. I mean, I'll be 45 in July, and I'm like, man, I grew up with him, and the depth of our relationship and our life together is just, to me, it's pretty invincible. I am incredibly grateful for the journey that we've had, and I don't think that there is a better partner for me than him, and vice versa. I think that he is my biggest cheerleader and I'm his biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
I'm his biggest fan. He's my biggest fan. Yeah. And I think when you can see the calling on your spouse's life and support that both ways, because we both live very crazy. My mom's always like, I don't know how y'all do it. I'm like, God has given us the grace for what he's called us to. Yeah. He called us and he equipped us and he's given us the grace. And we have 3 children together.
And they're
beautiful children.
Incredibly adaptable and, I mean, so smart as whips.
And the little one is like, Addie's so like funny. She hugs me and snuggles with me.
She's so cute.
Hilarious. She's my surprise egg, So well, the crazy thing is when I was doing War Room, the Lord started giving me dreams that we were going to have another baby.
Wow.
And which was nuts. Which was nuts because at that time I was 36 years old and I was like, okay, any day now. Okay, I'm open to this. And I had to get Jeremy to sort of get open to the idea. Well, fast forward, I'm about to turn 40 and I'm still not with another baby. And I'm like, okay, did I miss this somehow? Was it like a spiritual birth? Not a real life human? I'm
not
like,
a real life human.
and I'm like, because I'm really disappointed God. So I turned 40 and I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks later. Oh. And so we joke all the time that it's like a fine wine, like that egg, like marinated for a very, very long time.
Oh, that's funny.
And she got all the goods. Yeah. Like she's just the best. She's so funny.
She's edible.
She is. The older two are always like, yeah, she's kind of the greatest. Like she's
well, that's
so
nice
funny.
They think that. Like all my boys are kind of like, oh, get away from me.
Tucker.
When are you guys going to be friends? Like I want you guys to be friends.
Well, Addie is just endlessly entertaining.
Yeah, she is.
She talks like a tiny adult because she's surrounded by her older siblings who are also like adults.
Yeah.
And you and Jeremy who just talk to her as if she's on the same level.
Yeah.
But she's sassy and adventurous.
Well, and I love that like all of our kids like within our friend group, a lot of them go to school together, but even if they don't or they don't really know each other from school, we do our tiny house camping now. So we have this new tradition of camping in tiny houses right before school starts, which is just so fun.
With all of the people.
All of the people and all of the kids, and some are running in the water and coming out with leeches. And
chaos.
And some are making s'mores, and some are escaping when it rains, and some are playing video games, and some are getting in trouble somewhere, running away. But I love that they all just like play, and they play hard.
Yeah, they do.
All right, here are your questions.
Okay.
Is there a robot? Is there a robot? Is there a reboot that you liked better than the original?
See, I don't watch a lot of like television shows.
Yeah.
What's funny is, do you remember you were like, when you met Arabelle, you were like, oh, she should watch Clarissa. And I was like, what's Clarissa? I was like, I know. I didn't, but the funny thing.
Especially because a lot of fashion designers, like
I know
they know Clarissa as an inspiration, but a lot of them, like a lot of people will come up to me and be like, I got into fashion because of Clarissa.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's kind of...
Well, it's crazy. I think I went through one of those weird periods of my life where we didn't have a TV because my dad was one of those weirdos that was like, for a little while, was like, no TV. And so I think I missed a large chunk because.
Well, and it was on cable, I would say. And in that time, not everyone had cable.
Yeah.
And not, if you were a little too old, you might not want to watch Nickelodeon because it was kind of a kids' network and that kind of thing.
So, and I didn't even, I think I missed Sabrina too.
Probably because we're very much.
Well, no.
I've had a lot of women in my Bible study go, I wasn't allowed to watch your show.
Well, I mean, we're almost the same age, so I don't know if it was that I was just too old for it by that point.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, because the funny thing is I've had this conversation
Unless you were drinking in college. Apparently it was at the time, it was a big drinking game to play on Friday because it was Friday nights.
Yeah.
And a lot of college kids, when the cat would talk, they would drink. And apparently that was a thing.
What?
That's hysterical.
So
I've
if
never
the cat
heard that
had a heavy
before.
episode, people were wasted. Cat heavy episode.
I did watch it when Irabel wanted to watch it, and it's weird. That
Yeah.
cat's weird.
It got better over the year. When we got a bigger budget, the cat got better. So if you watch the seasons in order, you'll definitely notice that.
But as far as reboot, I didn't. There wasn't one.
But you're friends with Candace
I
Cameron
am
Bure,
good
so-
friends with Candace. What's
Did you
funny,
watch Fuller House? No? Okay, that's fine.
I think it was the same time in my life. I missed both of you.
It's the same. Yeah, it was
so
around
in
the same
some
time.
weird way, it was like I've sort of gotten to know
You
those
missed
characters,
the 90s.
which is weird.
I mean, as far as pop culture stuff goes.
I think I was barrel racing horses when you guys were on TV.
Nursing concussions.
It makes it
Building up
easier
your
for the
immune
friendships
system.
to be authentic, though.
It's true. So I will say that it's not a reboot, but it's a remake.
Yeah.
Of Pride and Prejudice. Like,
Yes.
I loved. I kind of love everything.
The
BBC.
Keira Knightley one, right?
Yes.
Oh.
So I kind of love everything BBC, but the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice was beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so
the
good.
music, the costumes.
The hand.
I don't know that I
Oh,
can get past
my
Emma
gosh.
Thompson's though with Kate from Titanic.
Winslet.
That's the one. I don't know that I can
Oh.
improve on that Pride and Prejudice.
No, wait, Kate Winslet.
Is that the BBC one?
No,
No.
that's the original.
No.
Maybe not the original. I think there's been a few. Wait, look.
Kate Winslet?
No,
was
you're
in
thinking
Pride
of
and Prejudice?
Emma.
Oh,
You're
Emma.
thinking of Emma,
yeah.
But she didn't Emma Thompson also do a Pride and Prejudice?
No. Oh, wait, no. That was Sense and Sensibility. Emma Thompson
Yes, you're
was
right.
Sense
You're
and
right.
Sensibility.
And what's funny is I
Which I
actually did a
love.
course in college on Jane Austen.
funny.
So I should know the difference.
Emma Thompson is like my all-time like legend. I would love to meet her.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who played Mr. Darcy is now in Succession.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah?
And he's like, oh, the worst. And I'm like, I used to love you.
Oh, it was a Pride and Prejudice on BBC with Colin
now
Firth.
I can't
Yeah,
love
yeah.
him anymore.
Love him
That
too.
one was 1995, and
Yeah.
then the Keira Knightley one was 2005.
Yes. The costumes.
And then,
that were in that
there
were
was
so-
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Oh, that's
Did you
stupid.
like
No.
that? No?
No.
I haven't seen it. I feel like I
That
should.
sounds like really dumb.
Yeah. All right. Is there a cover of a song that you think is just blasphemy?
So Jeremy and I were talking about this when you sent me those questions, and we both thought of this. So we kind of both really love Sting, the Police, and there was this award thing that they did for Sting recently, and they had all these people come up and do songs. Y'all should watch it. There was this one of Every Move You Make.
Oh, no.
It was horrible.
No.
And Sting is sitting there the whole time going, like, and it's a tribute to him. And he's just like, it was painful. And it was
Oh,
so
no.
sad. It was really, really bad.
Oh.
So I'd say that's probably.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I like that you had an answer because a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't say your kids or your husband, but what are you most proud of?
I can't say my kids are right.
No,
No.
because that's just given. We
That's
know
everybody's.
you are. We know you are.
What am I most proud of?
Is it like
Oh, man.
your relationship with your father, your relationship with the Lord? It could be like
Honestly, I
your
think
career. Could be how tall you got. I don't know.
I achieved the full height of 6 feet.
you did.
Genetic
I'm jealous.
excellence.
I've talked about this many times. I think about how I thought about heightening
I just
my.
snorted. That's how fast.
I thought about like lengthening my legs and what that would do for me, and
Can
I
you
found
do
it would only
that?
be like but you have to break each leg, and it takes 6
No,
months
that's
each
stupid.
leg.
and you get like
No.
2
You get like
inches.
2 inches. I was like, when I
Not
found out
worth
it was 2 inches, I was like,
You can
not
just
worth it.
be tiny and cute.
I'll just wear heels.
Stay there.
Yeah.
I think, I'm going to go deep, so I'm going to go deep
Yeah.
real fast. So several years ago, Irabel, being the girl she is, says to me one day, she says, Mommy, she goes, how old will you be when I'm 70? And I did the math and I was like, I'll be 102. And she goes, oh, so you'll be dead. And I went, no.
Newsflash, the
no.
human life expectancy is going up.
Well, and I said to her, I was like, you know what? God and I just had a conversation about it. I've decided I'm going to live till I'm 105. And she goes, why would you want to live till you're 105, Mommy? And she laughs. And I had this just Holy Spirit moment. And I went, because I haven't met that woman yet. And I'm pretty sure she's going to be amazing. Because everything that I've walked through, I've become more on the other side than I was before. So every valley that I go through, it opens up more of who I am. Every mountain that I've climbed, I've seen more of who God is, and I've seen more of who I am. right before I went into doing I Can Only Imagine, the Lord says to me, he says, Anna, there's a depth to me that you do not know. And there's a depth to you that you do not know because you were made in my image. If you are willing to go to the depths of who I am, I will unlock the depths of who you are. But it's not the other way around. You don't find you before you find me. It's that verse in the Bible, seek first the kingdom of God and all of these things will be added unto you. The thing is that I realize that this journey that God has had me on is discovering more of who he is. And then in turn, I actually see myself. And I cannot imagine if I stay on that path of just striving to be more of the person that God is molding me to be, the wisdom that God is going to pour into the woman that I'm going to be when I'm 105.
And then from there to your children and your grandchildren.
So I think it's the wisdom of the age. Like, I am grateful to age. I don't want it to happen on my face so much.
Yeah, I get you. There's
you,
no
Lord, for
talk for that.
for that. But the heart.
Yeah.
The molding of character and heart, it's not been because of the easy things.
So that's a much better answer than when my kids ask
know.
how long I'm going to live. I'm going to say 103 because when I was little, I don't know if you guys had this in Alabama, but they'd roll that video player into the auditorium and Jiminy Cricket would do this little thing. I'm going to live to be 103 because I'm no fool. And it would be about wearing your seatbelt and putting on a helmet and like all these things that you do. Don't smoke and eat well and work out and like all these things that make you get to 103. And so I've always been like, I'm going to make it to 103.
103.
Jiminy Cricket said it. So it's not as deep as yours. I do like Jiminy Cricket, but God's better.
God's better than Jiminy Cricket. He is your conscience, right? He's your conscience.
He's your conscience.
Yeah.
Let your conscience be your
technically,
guide.
the Holy
He's the
Spirit?
cricket version of the Holy Spirit. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what, actually, it's funny because in Sunday school the other day, we were talking about the Holy Spirit and I said something about Holy Spirit. Mark chimes in with, I mean, as opposed to Jiminy Cricket, who's just your conscience. I was like, oh, okay. I like Jiminy Cricket. Don't bash on him.
He's cute. With his little tuxedo.
I went as Jiminy
it's the
Cricket
tall
for
hat.
Halloween once.
Brady did his first Halloween, or second Halloween. He had this cute little costume where his little face stuck out in the hat. So like Jiminy Cricket's, I think, face was below, and then the hat was above. It was so stinking adorable. You would have loved it. I think I found it on eBay. If you could time travel, where and when would you go?
It's hard because my favorite era of time it's going to be because of the clothes.
Yeah.
Not really because
always,
of the
always.
is the 1940s, 30s and 40s. I think because I really love. So I spent most of my career in the music industry styling men, and I love men's tailoring. And women's clothing in the 40s was very tailored. They had the hat, they had the tailored jackets and the
Nice
skirt. They were so beautiful. Yeah, that really nipped in waist. And I think it was I love masculine clothes for me. Like I think everything I'm wearing is men's. It's terrible, but I tend to gravitate towards
great.
more.
But you are so hyper feminine in just the way that you're built that works for you. If I put on all men's clothes, you'd be like,
You're wearing men's clothing. Yeah.
okay, are we making a statement or are we, what's going on?
I would just look like a weird little boy.
What's funny is when we were shooting Jesus Revolution, I had to go to the Grammys for the weekend for one of my country artists. And while I was shopping for Jesus Revolution, I found a tuxedo from the 1970s. And I had my tailor alter it to fit me. It was amazing. Yeah, so it was a men's tuxedo. It had the giant white, it was paisley satin. But anyway.
Oh, that's cool. We need to
so
picture
the
that.
tailoring from the 1940s, and it would be
I have a 1940s men's tuxedo jacket with tails that I wear.
yeah.
I love it.
I love it.
That's
I
a
love
great
it.
one.
I love it. I love it. So that's probably where I would go.
All right. What is the best part of your job?
I think telling stories. I think being able to sort of create a world where you get lost in a story.
Yeah.
You're not. I don't want the clothes to be the story. I want the story to be told. And so a lot of times, like, it's my goal to tell the story without words,
Yeah.
but still be telling a really amazing, deep story. So I think the storytelling is probably my favorite. And, the difference between being a stylist and being a costume designer is that as a stylist, you tend to be on an island by yourself. There's a lot of pressure. for a 5-minute red carpet.
Yeah, real
lots
quick,
of
do something
pressure.
different and fantastic, but classy and cool.
It's kind
and,
of exhausting, honestly.
Trendy and ahead of trend. And
It's hard.
but not too ahead of trend.
Yeah. But with as a costume designer, you have a team. I have a team of people that we get to tell a story together. So there's a process of getting in depth into something as a team.
The research.
I love it. And we build, like on Jesus Revolution, we actually built a lot of pieces from vintage textiles. I would go and buy vintage sheets. And build a dress out of a vintage sheet because it had life in it. It had character already built in because it was worn out.
That was one of my most favorite things about the movie is none of the costuming felt distracting.
No.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about Daisy Jones.
Yeah.
Daisy Jones and the Six and how because it was the same era, how some of the costuming just felt like a costume, like something they went and put on from a costume store, like everything you'd expect from the 70s. But what they were wearing in Jesus Revolution, to me at least, it felt so natural and not distracting. And I know some of it may have been, stuff that you made or,
a lot of it,
more modern things, but it just everything belonged.
Yeah. I think that's the thing is like you want the character to be able to wear the clothes, not the clothes be wearing the character. Yeah. So it's like you want them to feel like one of the things that I loved so much about costuming Jesus Revolution was Kimberly Paisley. I love that woman so much.
You had such a great cast. I mean, you had Kelsey
oh my gosh,
Grammer.
it was so amazing. They were all so wonderful. Yeah. Like there's not one person on that cast that I could say anything ever authentically bad about because not that I would, but they're just beautiful people. Yeah. Kelsey Grammer's, I love him. I love him. Everyone, Joel Courtney, oh my gosh, that boy is so sweet. But Kimberly Paisley came in. Well, I actually went to her house and did a fitting with her here in Nashville because I built a lot of her costumes. And when she put it on, I have never seen someone become a character so fast. And it felt very like rewarding to go, oh, I did my job well.
And as an actor, it's so hard because a lot of time we audition and we have to imagine what the director wants, what they're thinking. Is this funny enough? Is this dramatic enough? Should I cry? Should I not cry? All these things you have to do in an audition. And you're not surrounded by anything except you're wearing what you would imagine the character would wear. And you're on a backdrop that's probably white, and you're mainly self-taping these days. Or you're in a room and a bunch of people are staring at you and you're pretending that this woman reading with you is the love of your life or something.
Right.
So I had to explain to Mark. Mark had to go on audition once and he had to be reading with a woman. He was supposed to be like seducing a woman. And I said, just so you know, the person reading with you might be a man.
Yeah.
And he went in and he went, yep, it was a man. That was very difficult. And so he never auditioned again. But I was like, but when you walk on a set and the sets are built and you walk into that space and you put on the clothes, and I always say it's like auditioning is just such another art because when you walk on a set and you're in it and the other actors are playing it with you and it's not, it just comes to life. Yeah. And all of a sudden it doesn't feel like you're just faking something. You're like in it. So wardrobe is so important.
Yeah. Kimberly, she like literally put on this dress and there's this really beautiful robin's egg blue dress that I built for her. That's you remember it's like Paisley. Paisley, that's right. She puts this dress on and she has the wig on and it was just a camera test. And she turns around and was a different person.
Wow.
I was like, wow, it was fun to see because she just felt it.
Yeah.
And I felt very rewarded in that moment because I was like, oh man, like I was part of this with her.
Yeah.
Where it was like I was helping her be the character that she felt she was supposed to be.
That's great.
So I think that's probably my favorite part is just being able to do something together. And build a story together that you get lost in. That's the hope. You get lost in it and you're not distracted by the clothing. It's not about my costumes, honestly. And I think
it should be part of the storytelling.
It's about the story.
It should inform it and and you can put fun little Easter eggs in, as we say. You can put fun little things or build a palette around something, someone.
Yeah.
But it should just complement it's the sprinkles on top of the ice cream. If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what would you be doing?
Oh, this was a hard one for me.
Who did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, gosh. I set out to be, I have a vocal performance degree. So I thought I was going to be a singer.
Really?
Yeah. And
You sing in the shower? You sing to your kids?
I still sing in the studio with my husband.
You do?
Yeah. I do a lot of background vocals on Jeremy's albums.
You
yeah,
do?
Yeah. So, but there was a really big part of my life that I felt because for my marriage, for our relationship, I had to go through laying down those things. And so I really, it was being a costume designer came out of a place of surrender. I was like, I'll do whatever you want me to do. So I didn't really have dreams beyond being a singer. And then when that was laid down, it was like wide open to whatever God had for me. And then I realized that like he had been building it all along because I'd been building costumes my whole life. I'd been sewing my whole life. I'd built my prom dress, my sister's prom dress.
Wow.
Like I started a clothing line. There were all these
Oh, you're
things.
like Pretty in Pink.
You would weirdly, yeah. Without the red hair, curls. But I was thinking
Have you ever
about,
sat on a, no wait, is that Pretty in Pink? 16 Candles. I was going to say, have you ever sat on a table and eaten a cake? Never mind. Different movie. Same actor, but different movie.
You're getting your wires crossed.
Yeah, always.
I think if there were something way outside of what my dreams were and now my new dream, which is what I'm living, I think I would have wanted to be like a writer or a poet.
Oh.
Like I really love writing, and I love writing even just the things that God
Is that
tells
something
me.
Arabelle likes? Because
Yes, she's an incredible
yeah.
songwriter. Actually,
Yeah.
she's so talented.
Oh my gosh.
And
I could see her being like a Daisy Jones.
Yes.
I don't know what is Daisy Jones.
It's a book that became a TV show that's on Amazon right now that we're kind of
this is
obsessed
my-
with.
Yeah.
I'm
This is the
sorry.
problem.
You don't know, like,
I don't know
television
If it's
pop
not
culture.
on the
It's
BBC,
fine.
I did not.
It's
watch
fine.
It.
If I didn't make it, I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna look at you. We've never done this with Anna before. This is weird to do with our friends. We're gonna look at your
Got your-
email. How
got your
many?
phone?
How many emails?
This is the worst.
I think she is Team Amanda here.
I think she probably is. I think she's Team Amanda. Wait, I'm embarrassed because I'm at 103. I just cannot get ahead of it this week.
Well, you want to know how many are unread?
How many unread? Just tell us the little red dot. What's your red dot?
You mean the little red?
Yeah.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know. Okay. I need my glasses on. It's 53,966.
I knew it. She's my people.
Oh, the OCD in me is just going.
I feel so
Jeremy
justified
too.
right
What
now.
is yours at right now?
20,324.
Nice. Good job. Yeah.
You are not improving. I'm just saying. I'm just going to say. I pick on you every week, and you're.
You know, there are other improvements in my life.
I know. I just don't
That's
delete.
good.
This is Jeremy. Jeremy's always like, "Why don't you just delete it?" I'm like, I just move
the
on, and I'm
point?
like, I don't need to.
But I think it's
That
that red. They're going to
thing
run out of
doesn't bother me.
storage. Really?
No,
Oh my
you
gosh,
don't run
no.
out.
There
it
are
just starts over.
The
Did you know
red
that?
dots on my page. Like I
I've
have
had
to check
pay
the
for more
Weather
storage,
Channel.
I think, because
Like right now, the Weather Channel has a dot, and I'm just going to open it because I can't handle the dot. Like it's warning me.
you know what?
No.
I use my
If you just start
reminders.
ignoring it, you
But see,
won't
like,
see
my
them
reminders
anymore.
are very
Almost every
important to
single
me.
one has a dot.
Guys, I have 13 texts and it's driving me
Mine
crazy.
does
Like I
too.
have to go check my texts and I
Which
have to
one
be
doesn't
real.
have
I know,
one?
right? I thought those red dots were supposed to be there.
Gosh,
Yeah.
what's wrong with you guys? That's like making
Look,
me.
there's 53 on my shopping app. Or wait,
But look at that cutie booty.
Oh, there's the little one.
Oh,
no.
So she has to do with this or that. I totally skipped it, didn't I?
yeah. Here we
And
go.
then we're going to ask you a secret to put in our jar for our secrets episode coming up.
This or that.
Okay.
Original or reboot?
Original
She doesn't watch
Musical
anything.
theater or concert?
concert
Action or adventure?
adventure
Super Bowl or World Series?
World Series.
Why does this feel like the end of Family Feud?
Carbs or sugar?
Aren't those the same thing?
No.
Well, I mean, one
yeah,
turns into the
technically.
other, but if you had to choose between like I don't
Bread.
know, M&Ms or
Bread.
yeah,
Bread.
Aisle or window?
Window.
yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Because you only want to sleep.
We're very similar people.
Yeah,
We are. That's why yeah.
it works.
like you.
This works.
You have a type.
Well, we're gonna ask you to leave a secret, but thank you so much for
Yeah,
being
this is
here.
fun.
I feel like we need to do a whole other episode about all your other movies and
Yeah.
and just bring our other friends in and just have a
Oh my
little
gosh.
Wellies day here.
That
a
would be
wellness,
fun. Can we do a Wellies?
a wellness Wednesday here at What Women Binge. It's a lot of W's, guys.
I don't
A
know
lot
if the
of
world
Ws.
is ready.
ready
I
for a
know.
Wellness
I don't-
Wednesday.
Yeah. I don't know if they're ready for it.
We're a lot.
We are a lot, and we kind of talk over each other, and I mean, not that we don't in here, but but anyway, thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Anna, and guys,
Happy
go check
Easter.
out. Check out. Oh wait, what's your next movie? Tell us real quick what we can expect next.
Well, I'm actually doing another movie with the Kendrick brothers, which is War Room and Overcomer, and so we're doing one this summer.
What's the one you just finished in Birmingham?
Oh, that one I just finished. Oh, yeah, that one is called The Shift, and it was really fun because it was sci-fi. It's with Angel Studios. It's the same people who do The Chosen.
Oh.
And it was very cool to live in this sort of broken dystopian world for a whole movie. That was really fun.
Well, you were gone for a long time. We missed
Yeah,
you,
I
but
know.
you're back, and everybody should go check out Jesus Revolution, and then wait for The Shift to come out later this year. All right, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.